Insurance, it is just part of life, from homeowners, renters, or auto. But just because we pay for something doesn't mean we really know the ins and outs of things. So that's why Christopher Cook from Alliance Insurance Services is here to answer your questions about insurance. You can text those questions. The number is 336-379-5775. All right, let's get started, Christopher. This is something that most of us have, which is auto insurance. And North Carolina law requires us to have some insurance, but that doesn't mean that it's all the insurance that we could actually have.
Right, yeah. Hey, Tanya, very glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me to have this conversation. Yes, so the state of North Carolina requires that all vehicles on our public roads have liability insurance. And that liability insurance pays for the damages you cause to another person's property, usually a vehicle, or to the injuries you cause to another person. The state of North Carolina does not require you to have physical damage. Most of us call it collision or full coverage on your car. That is your choice. Some banks dictate that you have, or all banks dictate that you have comp and collision on a car if you have a loan against it, but it's not required. It's optional. Most of us should probably consider it if our vehicle has significant value.
All right. And so there's one more part of auto insurance that I think sometimes people really get caught off guard with, and that is comprehensive coverage.
Yeah, so comprehensive, really easy way to understand it, because comprehensive is sort of a silly word, is acts of nature. So flood damage, hitting an animal, hail damage, tree falling on your car, things that you weren't driving the car just got damaged, or some other act of nature damaged your car.
All right, and so if you don't have comprehensive coverage and you hit a deer, let's say, and one of our coworkers actually just hit a deer last night, you don't have comprehensive, then you're going to pay out of pocket for all of the repairs.
Right, you and Mr. or Mrs. Body Shop owner are going to have a good relationship.
Yeah, you are. Okay. All right, we're getting some text questions here. We want to get to them so folks can have their questions answered. All right, this person says, how often should I shop around for insurance rates? I haven't done it in the past 3 years, but I also haven't been unhappy with the price that I pay.
Yeah, Tanya, I don't think there's a steadfast rule. In our agency, we have a tracking mechanism to see if your rates are going up, or if they're not in line with what folks similar to your situation are. 2 cars, 2 drivers, the average rate is, say, $100. If your 2 cars and 2 drivers rate is $150 a month, that would trick an indicator for our agency to look into your coverage. I'm not sure if all agents do that or not, but personal preference, I would talk to your agent and review your coverage and make sure that you value the protection you have. And if you do, then stay put. But that's certainly up to a personal decision.
You know, people may just be curious, what could I get around? But the really important thing is you can always find cheaper insurance, but that doesn't mean that you're covered the same.
Right, yeah. If you buy less coverage, that's sort of like, if you want to go to the grocery store and buy a 12-ounce filet or a 6-ounce filet, I'm pretty sure the 6-ounce filet is going to cost less. If you buy less insurance coverage, the price is going to be cheaper. So you need to really understand what you're comparing and make sure you're buying the coverages you need and the coverages you want.
Right, apples to apples when you do that price comparison.
Age-old apples to apples comparison, yeah.
Yes, okay. This person says, is it always cheaper to bundle home and car insurance, or could you find cheaper rates for each if you got them separately with different companies?
Yeah, certainly always is probably too big of a word there. It is not always cheaper to bundle. The majority of the time, probably 65% of the time, you are going to get a less expensive price if you bundle due to package discounts and whatnot. The thing I would say is also it comes down to a coverage situation. Heaven forbid you have a claim on your car and your home at the same time. Usually that's going to be some sort of theft or a fire possibly, or you actually hit your house with your car, which unfortunately people have done before. You would have one deductible typically in that situation. If you have 2 separate companies, you're going to have 2 separate deductibles in the event that you have multiple claims. So that is something to be considered as well.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I wouldn't have thought about the deductibles. All right, this person is saying, how expensive is it to get flood insurance?
Insurance is just math, and you and I have had the opportunity to talk about that before. The higher the risk, the higher the premium. Most homes in the Greensboro market can be insured for $400 a year, approximately, for flood insurance, and that's up to $250,000 of coverage. So that's a generality. Obviously, homes at the coast or homes in low-lying areas near rivers, if they are in a flood-prone zone, then the premiums are going to go up. Anytime the risk goes up, the premium goes up. So we have some flood customers who pay over $5,000 a year for their flood insurance. They have a beautiful home on the river. They've got a lot of risk of damage. Their premiums are high because of it.
Right. We've got a graphic up that's making sure people know homeowners policies cover nothing in a flood. Flood is an extra policy.
That's exactly right. Flood is always an extra policy in our state and in the vast majority of the country.
All right, we're going to continue to answer your questions. You can text us your questions. We've got one more segment with Christopher Cook from Alliance Insurance Services. We'll be right back.